So today we're going to just get started with a quick warm-up. So just go ahead and pause the video and try these 4 problems out on your own to see if you can remember what each of these words goes with. So sum, hopefully you remembered, goes with addition. Product is going to go with multiplication. Quotient is going to go with difference or division, and difference is going to go with subtraction. The reason we were reviewing these is because today we're focusing on translating between algebraic expressions and word phrases. So first we're going to start with sums. Any of these word phrases are something that you might see in place of addition. So a number plus 5, add 5 to a number, the sum, 5 more than, a number increased. They would all be your variable. I'm going to use n in place of number, plus 5. Our next one we're looking at is subtraction. Now any of these phrases are going to mean subtraction. So here we have a number minus 11, subtract 11 from a number, the difference of a number and 11, 11 less than a number, and a number decreased by 11. Now here it's always going to be n minus 11. I do want you to take note that sometimes they're written in order, so like a number minus 11, and then here we have subtract 11 from a number. So you have to be careful, especially with subtraction, that you are writing things in the correct order. Multiplication, a little bit more straightforward. We have 3 times a number, 3 multiplied by a number, or the product of 3 and a number. So this would be 3n. And then here, a number divided by, divided into, or quotient. So this would be like n divided by 7, or the more algebraic way for us to write it now would be n over 7. Okay, so now we're going to look at situations where we're actually going to be writing our expressions. So here we have 9 less than a number w. So less than is going to indicate that we're using subtraction. W is the variable that they want us to use in this situation. Now a lot of times people, especially with the less than, get confused as to what order. So sometimes I like to think about just putting a number in here and think about how I would answer what number would be 9 less than a number 10. Or 9 less than 10. Well, I would say 1, and I'd figure that out by doing 10 minus 9. But here, in place of that 10, I'm going to put w, so this ends up being w minus 9. Then here we have 3 increased by, so increased meaning addition, difference meaning subtraction. Now here, whenever I see of, that operation is going to go where the and is. So it's 3 increased by the difference, the answer to p minus 5. And notice I put parentheses around it because the addition was indicating that we should do our the difference first because it's 3 increased by the difference, or the answer to the subtraction problem. So why don't you go ahead and pause the video and see if you can do these 2 on your own. On our first one, we have sum, which means add. We have the of, so the sum is going to go where the and is. So here I have a number h, so it's going to be h plus 88, and then minus 4. And then our next one we have quotient of, so quotient is going to go where the and is, so this becomes f divided by 6, or the better way to write it would be f over 6. Now we're going to do the opposite. We're actually going to take our algebraic expression and translate it into words. And it might be just as simple as this. Here we have 9, so I'm going to do 9 minus 3 times c. So it could really be as straightforward as that. But another way we could do that is we could actually write something along the lines of the difference between 9 and 3 times a number. So multiple ways that you can say the same thing. So here we want to write a word phrase for the algebraic expression 7 plus 19b. So it could be 7 increased by the product of 19 and b. One thing to keep in mind when we're doing this is a lot of this also relates to word problems. But in word problems, we just have to interpret the action that's needed to perform and complete what they're asking us to do. So there's some different things that we can do here. If we're combining or we see how many all together, operation that we would use would be addition. If you're combining equal groups, then you'd be looking at multiplication because it's equal parts putting together. If we're separating, we're looking at subtraction. If we're separating into equal groups again, then we would be doing division. Now let's look at an example. A restaurant leased its banquet hall for a function. The cost was $10 per person. We would write an algebraic expression to evaluate what it would cost for 20, 21, 22, and 23 people. So here, because it's $10 per person, we would do 10 times the number of people, which is what we see right here in our table. Now what we want to evaluate for is 20, 21, 22, and 23 because that's what they gave us. So that's what we're going to put in for our n. So we have 20, 21, 22, and 23. So now we just have 10 times each of these values. So this would become 200, 210, 220, and finally 230. Now sometimes they will give us the expression and they want us to write the word problem. So kind of like we were writing the expressions before. So here if we had 27 plus t and we're evaluating for when it was 1.76, a possible way we could do that is by saying Ahmed bought a new sweater for $27 plus sales tax, which is t. If the tax was $1.76, what was the total cost of the sweater? That would just be a real life situation for that problem. So here we want to write a word problem that can be evaluated by the algebraic expression 43 minus d, and it solve for when d equals 10.24. So it could be something along the lines of I bought a new sweater for $43 minus a discount d. How much did I pay if my discount was $10.24? Alright, so now it's time for you to try some stuff on your own again. So why don't you go ahead and do all these problems and then you're going to check on Edmodo for the little check-in quiz with these so we can see how you're doing with this concept.